Hey everybody. So yesterday we talked about some teams that have been off to surprisingly good starts this year. Teams that I really didn't have high expectations for, but have really come out of the gate a lot stronger than I expected. Now we're going to look at the other end of the spectrum, where we look at some teams that have been pretty much disappointment so far this season and have really struggled here early on in the 2021 NHL season. So before we get into it, I just ask that you please subscribe and hit that like button. Both of those things help out so much and are greatly appreciated. But let's get into it here, taking a look at the five NHL teams who have been pretty disappointing so far this season. The first one that comes to mind for me, and I definitely think the first one that most people would think of, is the Vancouver Canucks. Vancouver is just, I don't know. I was not expecting this from them. I thought Vancouver was going to have a really good year this year, take that next step forward, build off making it to the second round of the playoffs last year, and it has been the exact opposite for the Canucks. They have had an abysmal start to the season. They are 6-10-0 through their first 16 games. They've played more than anybody. They're still down 6 in the North Division, second to last there. And it's just been an absolutely abysmal start and a disaster of a season so far for Vancouver. They've had to play a lot of games. The schedule certainly was not kind to them, but that is not an excuse. And at the end of the day, they needed to come out and win a heck of a lot more games than this. To be 4 games under 500 through 16 games, only having 40 left, that is a huge hole for the Canucks to try and climb out of. So I've been very disappointed with them, and they have not been nearly as good as I expected this season. Number 2, the Nashville Predators. Oh my God, what another disaster of a year for Nashville. Last year didn't go all that well. There were expectations there. They, ended up losing in that qualifying round to the Arizona Coyotes. And it wasn't an impressive year for the Preds. A lot of people were hoping for a bounce back this season, and so far that has not been the case. The Predators are now 5-8-0 on the year, down in 7th place in the Central Division, second to last in that division. And Nashville's been really disappointing to me. This is a team that is in win-now mode, with big contracts for guys like Roman Josi and Matt Duchene and Ryan Johansson and Ryan Ellis and Philip Forsberg, and having, Pekka Rinne nearing the ending goal, and having Saros, who is supposed to be the next guy, really doesn't look like the next guy at all. Barely getting by as a backup, I think, right now. I mean, it's been a disaster for the Nashville Predators. I think they're in big trouble. I think that they're gonna need to make some moves, and not only with the coaching staff, but also with the players. And I think Poyle might be running out of time as GM of that team as well. They just have not had it over the past year plus, and it's been another really disappointing start this season for the Preds. And I don't see this team making the playoffs, and that is massively disappointing for Predators fans, especially with the roster and the lineup that they do have. They should be a playoff team. They're not playing like it. Those big contracts are not working out, and Nashville's just been a huge disappointment in my opinion. Next up, we have the New York Rangers, who are sitting at 4-5-2 right now, last place in the East Division. It's just not been a good start for the Rangers. They've gotten off to a very shaky start. Now, they haven't been bad. They haven't been terrible, but they haven't been nearly as good as advertised either. They've had some defensive issues, particularly early in the season. They had the whole Tony DeAngelo saga, which they have been playing better since DeAngelo's been sat down and taken out of that locker room. They have been playing better, but still they're under 500 to start the year in their first 11 games. And this is a team that had a ton of hype surrounding them entering the season. Everybody was talking about the New York Rangers. Everybody was talking about that young core, Lafreniere going there, already having Capo Caco, Zibanejad, Panarin, Trouba on the back end, Keandre Miller coming in. Keandre Miller's actually played really well. Igor Shesterkin in goal. Shesterkin had a shaky start to the season. He's been much, much better in his last few starts. So it does seem like the Rangers are starting to get on track a little bit, which is really good to see. But so far, that record is not great, not compared to the hype that was surrounding this team heading into the year. I was expecting for a lot more, and to be under 500 at this point in the season is not great for the Rangers. So we'll see if they can turn it around. But so far, it hasn't been a phenomenal start to the season. Next, we have the LA Kings, who are sitting at just 3-6-3 and dead last in the West Division so far this year. LA, to me, has been really, really disappointing. I thought this team was ready to take that next step. I thought the worst of the worst was behind the LA Kings. And with all that young talent coming up into the lineup, I was expecting a lot more. Now, they have had a lot of injury issues, which has guys out of the lineup. And they also still have plenty of time. They've only played 12 games. They have plenty of time to climb in the standings and turn things around. But so far, the first month or so of the season has not been great for the Kings. Only sitting in last place at 3-6-3 is not where I expected the Kings to be. I thought they were going to be competing at, fifth, maybe sixth, and trying to get into that fourth and final playoff spot as this year goes along. And the Kings right now are just trying to pull out of the basement. Never mind a playoff spot. They're just trying to pull out of the basement of that division. So it's been a pretty disappointing start for the Kings. I expected more from them this year. And again, they're very young. They've got a lot of injury issues as well. So maybe as the year goes along, they will get better and will start to climb. But so far, based on the standings right now, LA's been pretty disappointing to me. And finally, that brings us to our last one. And this is a team that, you might not expect to be on this list because nobody really expected them to be good. But for me, the Ottawa Senators have still been very, very disappointing this year. And it's not that I expected Ottawa to win a lot of games or I expected them to be good or make the playoffs or anything like that. I picked Ottawa to finish last in this division, and they're sitting in last right now, but they are just 2-11-1 to start the year. As much as I knew that Ottawa wasn't going to be a winning team, I expected so much more than this. 2-11-1, are you kidding me? 5 points in your first 14 games? Are you kidding me? That is absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal for the Ottawa Senators. And again, they're a young, rebuilding team who still clearly has a long way to go. But I just thought they'd be a lot more competitive than this. And I think that's the thing that's been most disappointing about the Ottawa Senators is that it's not that they aren't winning a lot of games because that was expected. It's that they're not even competitive in a lot of games. And that to me is the most disappointing part because I was expecting them to at least put up a fight and, have some close games. And they've straight up looked like an AHL team in some of these games that they've played so far where they haven't even bothered to show up. They should have just stayed in the locker room. So that to me has been really, really disappointing for Ottawa. I expected a lot more fight and a lot more compete out of this young team. And so far this year, we haven't seen it. They've played better as of late, but overall, it's been a really, really bad start for Ottawa, and their record shows it. And while I knew that they wouldn't be good, I was expecting more of a compete factor and more competitive close games from this team. So we'll see if they can get on track as the season goes along. Like I said, they have been playing better as of late. But man, I've been really disappointed with the Sens so far and really thought I'd see a lot more fight out of that team. But anyway, that's our list of 5 NHL teams that have been really, really disappointing, in my opinion, to start this year. We have the Vancouver Canucks, Nashville Predators, New York Rangers, LA Kings, and Ottawa Senators. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon, merchandise store, and donation link are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.